Hello everyone, my name is Davik, and today I wanted to talk about the Xbox Series S because I think the new console really can change the game. Although I was disappointed with both their lineups, to be completely honest, I still thought that Sony would have more sales this generation of consoles because at the end of the day, I didn't really see a reason to go to Xbox. Of course, they had some great steps with Game Pass and backwards compatibility throughout all Xbox systems, but they also had some missteps as well. Like, you remember that Halo Infinite controversy that happened, and just in general, with so many people in the PlayStation ecosystem now that moved from Xbox 360 to PS4, from PS3 to PS4, there didn't really seem a reason to jump ship until now. Microsoft announcing and pricing the Xbox Series S at $299 USD, I think makes a big difference. And honestly, this might be the best-selling console this holiday season, especially if you look at what we are living through right now with the pandemic and a lot of people going through financial issues. This is going to be the console to beat. So before I get into it, let's talk purely about specs. So we know that this is a cheaper console than the Xbox Series X, with the Xbox Series X coming in at $500 and Xbox Series S coming at $300. But what is the Xbox Series S trading off from the Xbox Series X? So looking strictly at specs, the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S almost have an identical CPU, both being 8-core with the new AMD Zen 2 architecture, with the Xbox Series X having a 200 megahertz advantage over the Xbox Series S, which is really nothing. Like, you're not going to notice that anywhere when you're gaming. It's practically the same CPU. But where the biggest difference is in the GPU, where the Xbox Series X produces 12 teraflops of GPU power. The Xbox Series S only has 4 teraflops. But this is where it becomes interesting, because the main difference that the 8 teraflops is going to have between the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S is that the Xbox Series X can do native 4K, while the Xbox Series S is probably going to do 1080p native and then upscale to 1440 or 4K resolutions. So that's where the big difference is. I know Microsoft is saying that they're going to aim for 1440p, 60 FPS, but honestly, I feel like maybe they can do that at the beginning of the generation with cross-gen games, but the moment next-gen only exclusive games start, I think it's coming down to 1080p given the GPU horsepower. But regardless, if you think about it, most people don't have 4K TVs, or they're happy, with 4K upscaled 1080p. So if you're playing on a 1080p screen, what's the reason for going for an Xbox Series X when you really won't be able to see that difference in graphical fidelity because you won't have native 4K support? So another big difference is the RAM between the two. While both of them share GDDR6 RAM, the Xbox Series X has 16 gigabytes, while the Xbox Series S has 10 gigabytes, which can make a difference. But I think one thing to keep in mind is that the textures in the games are going to be 1080p for the Xbox Series S, and Xbox Series X is going to be 4K. And so with that, you won't have to load in as high memory textures for the Xbox Series S because you don't need those high resolution textures. So this RAM difference shouldn't make that much of a difference, and that sort of goes down to the storage as well, where the Xbox Series X has a 1 terabyte SSD, the Xbox Series S has a 512 gigabyte SSD, and like I said, with the lower resolution texture, you really I think games are going to be a lot smaller in Xbox Series S, so there will still be a difference. Like, definitely, like 500 gigabytes isn't a small amount, but at the same time, I think it will be manageable for most people. And I think the important thing to note is that there is no compromise for the CPU and the SSD, because for this next generation of consoles, I think those are going to be the main two factors, especially with the SSD loading in brand new open worlds and being able to load bigger segments of the world quickly is going to make a big difference. So definitely having both of those at a very similar rate to the Xbox Series X makes it very competitive. And I think Microsoft took the right approach in making a cheaper console in this way. So let's talk about this from a gamer perspective. I think, if you're a non-casual gamer, then you're pretty firmly in one camp. Like for myself, I'm a PlayStation guy because I'm really invested in their exclusives. And, some people are into PC, Counter-Strike, etc. And some people are on Xbox side with Halo and stuff. But if you're a casual player and you just want to play the latest COD and the latest FIFA, and this is promising that you can do that, at a pretty decent resolution and like top-notch graphics for the next 7 years for $300, why would you not go for that? Or why would most people not go for that? Especially with crossplay becoming a thing, you can play with your friends who have a PS5, a PC, etc., who might not be on this console, and still get all the benefits with the lower price and the next generation gaming. If you think about it for college students like myself, or you think about it for parents who are going to buy their kids this next generation console this Christmas, if they see a PS5 for $100, $150 more than the Xbox Series S, and the sales guy says they can play the next NBA 2K, why would that parent go for the PS5 rather than the Xbox Series S? Most of the time, they're going to go for the Xbox Series S. And I think that's what's going to make it sell like hotcakes. And to add on top of that, the size difference between the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S is a big factor as well. And the Xbox Series S is tiny. It's so compact. And I think that's going to make a big difference. I know for myself, as a college student, with the price point, you're also telling me this is a console I can take around a lot easier. Like that's really a really compelling offer for me. And if I wasn't invested in Sony exclusives, I think I would probably jump ship to Xbox. I haven't even gone into Game Pass and the value that offers for consumers as well. Because with Game Pass, not only do you get Xbox Live and all Xbox exclusives on day one, which include Halo, Gears of War, Forza, like, even though they're behind Sony in exclusive, they still have some nice IPs. At the same time, you're also getting EA Play and other third-party games with this package. So really, outside of buying the console and the subscription, you might not have to buy anything else this console generation. And I think that makes it very, very appealing. It's two very different approaches, but I think that's exactly what Microsoft had to do to stand out this console generation. Because we saw what happened when they went head-to-head with Sony last generation, and it was honestly a failure for them. Of course, it sold reasonably well, but at the same time, nowhere near where the PS4 sold. So what Microsoft is doing this generation is, first, they're making sure that PC and Xbox are interconnected with each other, and taking up that whole space. Second, making it essentially so Xbox is PC but for your TV, so you can play games on it. And third, really pushing Game Pass for both PC and Xbox. And I think that's a really important distinction that's going to help them out this whole time. Especially with the Xbox Series S, Microsoft has their own bracket to play in. So, at $300, I do not think the PS5 is going to be able to match that, even with the PS5 Digital Edition, because it has the exact same specs as the PS5 Normal Edition, just with the optical drive missing. At maximum, I think what Sony's pricing is going to be is $400 for the Digital Edition and $450 for the optical drive version. And I think, of course, that's still competitive, especially when you compare it to the Xbox Series X's pricings, $500, but at that $300 price range, not even PC manufacturers can compete at that for the same specs that you're getting. So this is really unparalleled. Microsoft has as much freedom as they want in that bracket, and it's going to be hard to turn that system down. If you don't care about Sony exclusives, or you don't game on PC, then this is the console for you. For $300, get into this next generation and be set for the next 7 years. Buy Game Pass, and you're gonna have the Netflix of gaming essentially. So you're gonna have some great games to play, and new exclusives coming out every so couple of years. So I think that's a great value for money, and many people are gonna hop on that. It's gonna be really interesting to see which of these strategies really works out, because PlayStation is taking a much more traditional approach, making sure that console generations are generations, while Microsoft is keeping both generations in it at the same time. And so I don't know, it's going to be really interesting to see which one works, which one doesn't. But I think Microsoft just played its trump card for this generation, and it's really saved itself, honestly, because I did not think it was going to go out too well. Regardless, I'm just so happy that this game of chicken is over. Thank God for the leaker that forced Microsoft to play their hand, because we're out here dying for new information. And so yeah, the consoles are coming out in 2 months, so this is at least we're getting some new information, because in 2 months we're going to be dropping $300, $500. But with that said, guys, thank you so much for tuning into the video. This was more of an unscripted thing, but I just thought it was really interesting and I wanted to talk about it. Thanks, guys, for so much for tuning in, and take care till the next one.